first term for supervisor was at $57,000. The 8th term was $202,000. Just so you know, so Frank been here that long. That was his salary, right? And the trustees, dun, dun, dun. The first term is $11,000. $11,000. And the 8th term is $41,000. I inherited Frank Zuccarelli's salary. I didn't make the numbers up. I didn't do anything. The trustees went up to $42,000. Jerry Jones, his salary is $19,000. Highway Commissioner, $30,000. Cassandra, trustee, Gray Evans, $11,000. Chris Gonzalez, $11,000. She received her salary. Again, we inherit people's salaries.
I think we need to read a little more. It also says that if a new supervisor comes in, that drops considerably.
Correct.
Tiffany Henyard might be out, but Thornton Township's drama, baby, it's just had a costume change. The mess didn't leave it upgraded. Welcome to the Tiffany 2.0 era, where the budget's bigger, the grift's slicker, and the corruption. Oh, it learned a few new tricks. Folks thought the villain exited stage left, but surprise, there's a sequel. And now all eyes are locked on Napoleon Harris. The reboot nobody asked for, but somehow got greenlit with extra funding. This the same Napoleon who showed up with that, "I'm here to restore integrity, energy," said he'd fix things, said he was different. And yet the only thing louder than his promises, his paycheck. Huge shout out to Paul Roberts and the Lansing Journal for dropping the financial tea. Cause when you line it all up, it's criminal. Without the handcuffs, between his Senate gig and township role, Napoleon is pulling over $341,000 a year, and that's before bonuses. Let's do the math. He's got nearly 90 grand coming in from the Senate and 6 figures straight from the township. Meanwhile, residents still dodging potholes like landmines. And get this, he's lined up for $50,000 in bonuses. Bonuses for what? Showing up. With a smile, the 2020 ordinance says new supervisors should start at $57,000 in max, out at $122,000 after years of re-elections. Napoleon skipped all that and came in swinging like he owned the place. Those inflated salary rules that Tiffany slid into, they were created for folks like Frank Zuccarelli who love him or hate him, had 30 years in office, not someone who showed up to the cookout without an invite. Let's not forget, Napoleon didn't win an election. That caucus, that was political sleight of hand. Voters didn't pick him. He was dropped in like a surprise track on a bad album, and now we're stuck listening. And now the township ain't just double dipping, they're drowning in self-dealing. Napoleon out here in 2 high power roles, while folks like Carla, Cotton Burrows's so-called chief of staff, are raking in over $100,000 a year. For what? No one knows. She's not listed on the site. She's not showing up in public meetings. But somehow, she's cashing checks and racking up bonuses. Like it's Christmas every month. Public service. More like personal service. Over $100,000 for a ghost staffer-in that's before the extra $32K in projected bonuses. Wait a minute. Wasn't the vault empty? Didn't Tiffany already drain the funds like a soap opera villain? So how is there still cash for hidden salaries and loyalty perks? Somebody needs to call IT, because this scam is running on autopilot and nobody's pulling the plug. Let's talk about the trustees Mario Avant, Christopher Gonzalez, Various Stubbs, and Brandon Stanley. These aren't executives, they're board members. But somehow they're cashing checks like they just left a Fortune 500 meeting. First-timers are supposed to get $11,000. Gonzalez, in term 2, should be at $14,000, not over $30,000. That kind of money is reserved for lifers Zixterm vets. These dudes just clocked in and already cashing legacy checks. And you know what's worse? Robert Hunt is still there. Yes, that Robert, the sane man who couldn't explain a single budget line while Tiffany burned the place down. He sat in meetings, like a deer in headlights, stuttering through excuses, and yet, his name's still on the payroll. Oh, and Keith Price. Still lurking too. So let me ask you, what really changed? We didn't cut the corruption, we just switched wigs and slapped a new title on the same old chaos. It's giving rubber stamp realness. Watch any recent township meeting, and it's like watching a silent film. No questions, no pushback, just nods and scripted yes votes. The same exact play Tiffany ran is now back on stage with a new lead actor. Only difference, Napoleon Harris doesn't need fireworks. He's directing the same show with softer lighting and the same corrupt cast. Remember that ordinance Tiffany passed to stop the one that banned elected officials from slapping their faces on taxpayer-funded stuff? Yeah, that rule died in Napoleon's first meeting. First thing he did, repealed it. Now his face is on every food box in Thornton like it's an Amazon delivery from King Harris himself. Same stunt, new poster boy. Tiffany 2.0 but, in matte finish. The vote to kill that rule. Stanley S. Avanti S. Gonzalez S. Harris of course. Not a single question, just eye after eye, as if ethics were optional. Suddenly, it's cool again to campaign with canned goods. All that talk about integrity. Just political glitter that washed off in the first rinse. Same grift, less drama cause silence is easier to sell. Someone actually asked, why repeal it? And the board responded with the classic dodge, we'll get back to you. Translation, never. They mumbled something about misuse of likeness, but couldn't explain what changed. When Tiffany did it, it was dirty politics. When Napoleon does it, it's somehow public service. The rules didn't change, the faces did, and let's talk media silence. Ben Bradley pulled up with a mic. Napoleon disappeared like a ghost in a suit. No comment. No clarity. Just a man allergic to accountability. Tiffany made noise. Napoleon moves like smoke. But don't be fooled. He's stacking more than she ever did, just without the glitter and Instagram filters. It's a quiet hustle, with loud payouts. This board ain't a board. It's a formality, no debates, no ideas, just a voting machine set to YES. Same shady moves, same unchecked power. Napoleon didn't tiptoe in, he bulldozed the door. First meeting, full salary. First year, full control. He wants his photo on boxes, his signature on checks, and your silence in return. Transparency died on arrival. The man's pulling over $341,000, and he's keeping Tiffany's old team like their family heirlooms. Robert Hunt still eating $116,000 a year while never making sense in a single meeting. The chief of staff is still a mystery, still collecting checks like she won a lottery scratcher. Even Emmanuel the media guy stayed on board. No accountability, just continuity. If Tiffany was chaos, Harris is the cover-up, and somehow this remix hits even dirtier. FOIA documents don't lie and what they just exposed. Harris is breaking every ordinance like they're optional. He's cashing in the full supervisor salary, even though township law said new hires should start small and earn their way up. But Napoleon tossed those rules like expired coupons. And the insult of it all, these same people cried broke when Tiffany was in office. Now suddenly there's a buffet and everyone's got a plate. This is why Illinois always tops the charts for corruption. It ain't just the names, it's the rinse and repeat. They swap faces, not systems. Tiffany was the test run. Napoleon is the upgrade. No drama, no viral scandals. Just quiet corruption with a polished grin, and your tax dollars funding it. The scam leveled up. The silence. It's part of the strategy now. Napoleon didn't run for supervisor, he just appeared like a Netflix reboot nobody requested. People were desperate to be done with Tiffany, so they let Harris slide in unchecked. But let's be honest, all that really changed was the volume. Tiffany was loud and sloppy. Napoleon, cool, smooth, and just as dirty. It's not reform, it's a rebrand. And no one's raising a single eyebrow. Why? Because everyone at that table is cashing in. They ain't gonna speak up while the money flows. Wait until Harris starts cutting checks and canceling favorites. That's when the choir of silence will suddenly start singing. But for now, it's crickets and compliance. Deja vu, but with designer cologne. He's not flipping the system. He's flipping the optics. Same bloated salaries, same mystery bonuses, same disappearing transparency. The only real difference is the delivery. Napoleon isn't cleaning house, he's just rearranging the crooked furniture and calling it new leadership. He saw the Henyard blueprint and hit copy-paste. So, here's the million-dollar question. Will Harris show real leadership and scale back his pay to what the law actually says? Will he admit the money grab and step back? That would take integrity. That would take guts. But if he stays silent, stays paid, and keeps smiling on them food boxes, then congratulations. Y'all, we're officially living in Tiffany 2.0. Remastered edition. Sound off in the comments. Will Harris keep running the play or walk it back? Thanks for watching, and stay tuned, unless they try to shut us up next.